J.T. Crowley is Talking Books. On this show, you'll hear from emerging talent and seasoned veterans from around the world. They'll give you their take on the writing process and how to create the secret sauce of page-turning deliciousness. Let's get into that magical mixture of the art and science of creativity. Here's J.T. Crowley, author of The Smart Kids, and your podcast host.
Hello, I'm J.T. Crowley, host of Talking Books. And on the show today, I'm super excited to be talking to Lorraine Burkey about her book, A Little Birdie Told Me. Now, the book is a collection of poems Lorraine has written over the years. Most of it, if not all of them, reflect on how Lorraine sees life and how life has affected her. And when I've read them, they have been very fascinating to read. There is about 170 poems in her book, and they come under various headings. The vast majority of them come under larger life. And I'm only surmising that I'm going to ask her in a minute that this is just Lorraine's views on life, and she's put them in a poem. So, Lorraine, welcome to the show. Come and chat to me.
Yes, sir.
So, Lorraine, what inspires you to write your poems, and how do you go about putting them on your paper? Do you have any certain formulas that you follow?
No, what inspires me is when somebody says something in a way that triggers what I think about what they said, and then it just starts coming to me, and I have to stop whatever I'm doing and write them down, or I can't do anything else but think about that poem I'm writing in my head.
So how long how long has this book taken to write?
Well, since I wasn't really writing a book per se, it just started out from when I was very young, when I was in my 20s, and it was just a fun thing to do. And the more I wrote them, the more I thought it was helping me, and that I would remember the point I'd made. And when I go back and read them, I'd think, yeah, I want to remember that. Keep that in mind. So one by one, they just all added together.
I think that's amazing. What I'd like to do, Lorraine, is for us to read some of your poems. And at the end of each poem, if you can, would you be able just to tell the listeners and the viewers what that poem was about and, why you wrote it? So I'm going to say to you is, do you want me to read the ones that we agreed I would read, or do you want to start off? What do you want to do, Lorraine?
Okay, I will start off.
And which one are you going to read for us?
A fairy tale frog.
Excellent.
Love stories are for romantics who believe in fairy tales. That's just fine and dandy till you go to hook up with males. I've had my share of frogs, but nothing happened there. So I guess I gave up looking, and life was empty air. One more frog came hopping by, and luckily it was you. Fairy tales may be a joke, but dreams still do come true. Happily ever after is expecting quite a lot. But our love is something special, and we're giving it all we've got.
Now, who's that about? I think I know who it's about.
It's about my husband.
I thought that, but I wanted you to say it.
Okay.
So he's the fairy tale frog. Well, how does Steve react about that?
Oh, that's his favorite poem. When I get to the part there, I said, one more frog come hopping by. And he goes, that's me. That's me.
Do you want to read the next one, which we've got? That's Around the Bend. Now, this one is under Life at Large, everybody, this poem.
In the spring, were you reading it or was I?
You're reading it.
Okay. In the spring of 74, I was only 20. Life seemed to have a lot in store, and I was offered plenty. But something upstairs broke inside. I almost was no more. And though it wasn't likely, I made it through the door. Every day I'm determined to start the day anew. There's sunshine in my heart with a sunny point of view. Nobody promised it would be easy. There's a challenge in what I do. The love of mom and dad was there to see me through. There was a time when I thought my world had come to an end. But time has proven to me that I'm just traveling around the bend. That poem I wrote so that I would not borrow other people's opinion of me, but keep my own sincere outlook on who I am and what I think of myself. And I put this in a frame in my bedroom so I could read it every day and go, yes, remember that. This is who you really are. And it helped.
That's a very powerful message, isn't it?
Yes, I think so.
Because when I, looked at your poems, Lorraine, to me they are simple, but they are powerful. That's what I think. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think so. Very much so.
Yeah, and because when you look at poems, everybody, you've got some complicated poems that people write, but these are beautifully written. They're very simple, but they're very poignant, but they have a powerful message behind them. Lorraine, can we have another poem? Let's go to Do What's Right. I'll be interested to see why you wrote this one.
I'm tired of politics, tired of the sham, tired of the posturing for Uncle Sam. What happened to serving for the common good? They're improving our country as they know they should. They're lining their pockets for personal greed instead of providing what we desperately need. Come on, stand up and join the fight. Look in the mirror and do what's right. What inspired me was all the political stuff, all the under the table favors, and everybody thinking that they can get their stuff they want done instead of thinking of serving their country. They just were trying to do what they wanted instead of what was good for us. So it just sort of came out that way.
That's fine. So when did you write that? Can you remember when you wrote that poem? What year, roughly?
About the time Trump was running for office. Everybody was...
that'd be 2016.
Yeah.
I'm going to read one now, if that's okay, everybody. Is that all right, Lorraine?
Yes.
You said you wanted me to read 3 of the poems, so I'm going to read 3 of the poems. And this one, everybody, I'm going to read it from my iPad, and it's called Humanity Aloud. Thinking back is fairly safe because you set yourself aside, and things you couldn't see before have lost their places to hide. It's hard to understand how we're feeling as we grow and see exactly who we are. So we hurry to and fro. Sometimes it's hard to forgive yourself for things you did back then, but you still feel the guilt for what happened way back when. So be your own best friend, and yes, you can be proud. None of us is perfect. Rest assured that you're allowed. Why did you write that one?
Well, because I started questioning my past, feeling guilty over every little thing, and why didn't I do what I wished I would have? It's sort of like a midlife, or maybe it wasn't quite as good as I should have made it. It's a little late now to start thinking about it.
Was this a midlife crisis, Lorraine?
I think so, because I thought I was going to not have one because I had already adjusted to the problems I was having that other people started having. I thought, that would be a piece of cake, no problem. Oh, no, I started questioning what I did in the past. So, but it wasn't quite as good as I had wanted to be. So I started writing it down, stuff down so I could kind of put that period to rest and get on with it.
Do you ever re-edit your poems?
Oh yeah, when I get stressed out and I just want to cool it, I'll go back and read my book and I say, yeah, now I feel better. I really do. So it's sort of a self-therapy.
Excellent. Now, I want to read another one, if that's okay with you. And I'm going to read Life in America. We all seem to think we deserve a helping hand. We're so used to having everything our little hearts desires. The end justifies the means, so what if we turn liars? What does it mean to do without? Why should we sacrifice? We want our cake and eat it too, and never pay the price. Now the government's going broke, we finally reached the limit. Someone is causing a ruckus. However, we try to trim it. So easy was the coasting down that stretch of road. Now that's it turned uphill. It's time we carried the load. Still, I believe in people. Though it seems we've lost our way, I know I'll always be proud to be part of the USA. Again, that's very simple, but it's very powerful, isn't it, Lorraine?
Yeah, it really is. I had something to say.
So why did you say it then?
Well, because I get really tired of the media and how they think we're supposed to be. And I guess I wrote down what I thought about it instead of letting them spread their own opinions because they control what we think, or they influence it by what the words they choose and how they present it. So I'm going, well, just a minute. I want to have my say too. So I start writing out about it. And I wish I had an answer for exactly how I do everything. It just sort of happens to me.
That's life, isn't it? So, I mean, do
Yes.
you, when you write your poems, I mean, do you talk to people about what you've written? Do you say to them, look, what do you think to this before you actually publish it? Or do you just keep it quiet to yourself?
It's just to myself. I didn't really think much about it. It was for me and myself. And then I would share them one at a time. Oh, you've got to get published. Yeah, maybe someday. Just didn't think of it. I get excited about each poem. And I share it and they like it, and it just goes on and on. So then I like it. I write them for me first, and then when other people like it and they want it, then I think I want to share that too.
Why not? I always say to people, when you write a book, when you write poems, now, if you're not passionate about it, that comes across in the words and the text, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So you have to be passionate and believe in what you write. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Lorraine, would you read for us under the Christmas section, under the section that says under annual Christmas card poems, would you be kind enough to read the poem All of Christmas?
Sure. Christmas is for children. Are you kidding me? Christmas is for everyone, as it was meant to be. The blessings of Christmas are not under the tree. Love and hope and peace are entirely free. Of course we love the gifts, but please help us to see the meaning of those gifts God gave to you and me. The songs, the trees, the lights are fun this time of year. We feel a special love because the season is here. The blessings of Christmas, joy, hope, and peace. We hope the year ahead will be including all of these.
You've got several poems in that section. Is Christmas important to you?
Yes.
In what way?
Because Christmas is love, and it's one of the few times where people come together and how they know it's just good feelings and love, and we all want that all the time. And so when it comes that time of year, it has a message that, hey, things are gonna be okay. Things are gonna be great. You just want to share it with everybody because Christmas is love.
I think I agree with you there. And especially the past two Christmases when, we've all been affected by COVID. So I think that little poem is quite poignant, don't you?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad we agree on that, because that was my view, and I was just hoping you were going to agree with me. I want to go on to another one of your poems, if that's okay, Lorraine. I want to go, and I'm going to read this one, and it's under the Poems of Faith. And the poem is called, everybody, God's Point of View. So, my kind of person has long been out of style, but I believe in me, although I didn't for a while. I know when times get rough and the road I cannot see. When I'm really down and out, I can always turn to me. But if I find I'm not that strong and life is a lethal sword, I know it's time for a serious talk as I call upon the Lord. And when I'm walking with the Lord, way up in the sky, somehow he makes me understand without ever explaining why. So when I'm leaving church and I'm feeling so brand new, I realize that God wanted to share his point of view. Life can really get me down. Sometimes it looks so bleak. It's comforting to know church will be there every week. Is church important to you?
Yes.
I suspect that you wrote that poem on a particular day that you were feeling a little bit down, and that the church means so much to you that it lifts your spirits. Am I right?
I think so. Yes.
What does your faith mean to you?
My faith means everything to me. It's like we don't have all the answers to the questions, and we don't need to know because it's being taken care of for us.
I agree with you there. And I'm coming back to the point, everybody, saying that when you look at Lorraine's poems, they are simple. They're done that way deliberately, but they're powerful. There's a message behind them. And I think a lot of people, Lorraine, when they look at your book, are going to be able to associate these poems with different parts of their own lives, like you, have written the poem at certain times in your life. Would you agree with me that people can relate to your poems?
I hope so, because that's why I wanted to share them, because they would relate and they would be able to comfort themselves knowing that they aren't alone, and that they know that, hey, listen up, things just happen that way, and it's how you react to what happens in life, or then how you control what is in your life. So choose to write your own life in the way you would want it to be.
I like that. I like that phrase. Because life certainly didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, did it, Lorraine, when you were young?
Oh, no. But what I got was far more than I ever thought I wanted.
When I've chatted to you previously, yes, life took a different turn when you were 20 years old. You could have given up, but you chose not to. You adopted a new way of life, didn't you?
Yes.
And I think you continue to do that every day in your life, don't you?
Yes, I do. I think so, very much so.
And I can see that in a lot of your poems. And I quite deliberately, Lorraine, picked some of these poems because I think that was the fair view that would give people enough flavour of what your poems and what you and your book are about. So that's why I said to you, can we look at these poems? And, it's because the podcast, Lorraine and everybody, it's all about giving you guys, the listeners, a flavour and an insight into what Lorraine's book of poems is about. Now, I would like you, Lorraine, if you'd read the poem, each poem, for us.
Yes.
I like this poem, everybody. It's towards the end of the book.
Yes. Okay. As time goes on, we keep going, wondering if we can keep on coping. Each poem I wrote is a note to me, so I won't forget what I need to see. Maybe a poem you happen to read will come to help like a planted seed.
I chose that one because it's short, it's simple, but yet again, it's effective and it's powerful. Isn't it, Lorraine?
Yes, it is, to me especially.
Yes. Now, there's one poem, and it's right at the very beginning, Lorraine. And I think it's, if my memory serves me right, it's My Way. Yeah. And it's right at the introduction. I think this is a beautiful summary of you, your book, and your writings. Would you care to read that one out to us?
That would be fine. It started out for me and mostly just for fun. They help me sort my thoughts. As I change, I'm never done. If something sounds familiar, no doubt been said before, I just had to say it my way. It means just that much more. So as I pause to share these with whomever you may be, you can be sure as life goes on, many poems are yet to be. No matter how you change or how far away you roam, maybe something in my words will bring their meaning home.
It's a beautiful poem, isn't it?
It was just a note to me that what I'm about and how I wanted to share them. And it was just sort of a summarization.
And that's why I left it till last, because that's what I thought it was. Lorraine, who do you see as reading your poems? Children, adults, everybody? Who do you see? Who would you want to see reading your book?
Everybody and anybody, the human spirit. Nobody excluded, from the very top to the very bottom, because we're all important and we all have a lot of the same feelings. And they need to know that feeling them, you can manage them, you can handle them, and give it a part of the chapter of your life where you choose how you're going to look at it by what you want your life to be.
Where can people get your book, Lorraine?
They can get it at Archway and on Amazon.
Is it in Kindle version, or is it paperback or hardcover?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Like that answer. Lorraine, thank you so much for coming on to the show and giving us a brief outline of what your poems are about. I hope the ones that I read did them some justice. And for me, I come back to them. They are plain, simple, but powerful poems, everybody. So for me, this book is for those people who love, as I say, simple but powerful poems. Poems that evoke deep, heartfelt emotions, reflective poems with unpretentious messages that make us stop and think. That's what I summarize Lorraine's book, A Little Birdie Told Me. For me, that's what it was all about. Lorraine, thank you so much for coming on the show and for all the previous chit-chats we've had. And I have to also say thank you very much to your husband, Steve, for making us, having us the ability to talk to each other, because he's done an awful lot behind the scenes. And I know that he supports you. And I've said in the introduction, he is your stay. He is your rock. And not to say anything about him would be wrong. So I would like to say thank you very much, Steve, just for being there for Lorraine and for helping us out to get this podcast. Thank you, Steve. Well, everybody, I'm JT Crowley, and as I say at the end of each podcast, wherever you are in the world, listening, watching, thank you ever so much. Until next time, stay safe.